Welcome back. Deep in the Amazon rainforest live several isolated indigenous tribes. A book titled The Unconquered, In Search of the Amazon's Last Uncontacted Tribe, tells the story of an epic expedition to track down one such group. The release of new photographs by the Brazilian government of indigenous tribes living in extreme isolation in the Amazon has sparked fresh controversy over the concerns over their fate. Scott Wallace is a writer and photographer. He is also the author of the book, and he joins us now with more. Scott, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Tell us about your journey through the Amazon.
Yeah, so I was on a 3-month trek into the deepest recesses of the Amazon rainforest with Brazil's Indigenous Affairs Agency. They actually have an elite unit inside their agency called the Department of Isolated Indians, which is in charge of protecting and monitoring the last uncontacted tribes. And I went with that agency, on a Lewis and Clark style expedition deep into the rainforest to track one of these tribes.
And did you see them? Did you see any of them? And I want to mention that the same group you're talking about is recorded 27 tribes in existence in the Amazon?
Yeah, well, the same group being the Department of Isolated Indians, they have confirmed the existence of 27 groups. There may be as many as 80 just in Brazil. We also know there are 15 in Peru and a couple in Colombia, Ecuador, and Bolivia, and maybe in Venezuela as well. Brazil has the most of them. And it's actually incredible that in this day and age, there are still so many isolated groups that are basically living completely independently from the global industrial economy.
So what did you see?
So, well, first of all, the area that we went into is incredibly intact, wondrous, and also terrifying wilderness. Totally virgin forest, like it's been for tens of thousands of years. This is a very unexplored area. In fact, we were probably the first non-indigenous people ever to set foot in the particular area that we went into. So magnificent trees, life-threatening animals, anacondas, jaguars. And they're deep in these areas. These are very rugged headwaters regions where it's very steep up and down terrain between the rivers. This is trekking between rivers, not cruising on boats. It's in these areas that these groups are holding forth, basically in hiding from us.
Why do they want to be uncontacted? Talk about that term. And you said they were hiding from you. Are they all hiding from civilization?
Pretty much. The term uncontacted is a little bit tricky, but essentially what it means is that they have not had peaceful contact with us. There's been a dialogue, essentially, of flying bullets in one direction and flying arrows on their part in the other. They've experienced the outside world only as violent and dangerous. They're believed to be the survivors, the descendants of the survivors of massacres and raids to enslave them dating back to the 19th century. And these are the survivors who fled into the most inhospitable and inaccessible reaches of the Amazon to hide from the outside world, and they continue to do that to this day.
Scott, the U.S. Space Agency, NASA, has satellite pictures that show that the Amazon rainforest is shrinking. What does this mean for all those tribes who live deep in the Amazon?
It's a severe threat to them and to the biodiversity. So the shrinking forest represents a threat to biodiversity, cultural diversity. These last uncontacted groups who are living essentially as their ancestors did over the course of millennia. So as the forest shrinks, obviously they're the area where they roam, because these are nomadic and semi-nomadic groups. That area is shrinking, and as it shrinks, they're finding it more difficult to survive.
Scott Wallace, fascinating story. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us.
Thank you.